Alright, shalom. My name is Karataza Ban Yasharahlian Ban Yum Yum. Okay? I want to start this video off by saying, Call Allah Yahweh Shim Yahushai. And peace and blessings to you brothers and you sisters out there watching. Alright? And that believe. So today I wanted to go into something, man, that was on my mind. I want to go into building the culture for your houses. I think it's very important to build a culture, man. A lot of times we as Israelites, or I like to say as Yasharahlian, we like to carry this thing as a religion. Some of us do. And I think it's very important not to carry this thing as a religion. All right? We had enough of religion already. We should carry it as a culture. All right, this is a time where we're waking up to who we are. All right, the Most High had revealed to us who we are, who our forefathers were, and we should carry that as a culture, man. All right, we should be rebuilding this culture that we lost. All right, we should be rebuilding this nation that we lost. All right. We shouldn't be building a religion, okay? All right, so let's go into the word Bayath, all right, or house, like the house of David, all right? For me, my family would be called the house of Karatazar, or Bayath Karatazar, all right? Now, Bayath, it means a house, like a structure house. It also means a family, all right? Because the house, the family dwells inside that structure called a bayath, as we pronounce it. We speak Lashwan Kwadash, so, just bear with me. All right, so now, nations, all right? Nations are formed from first families and families and clans, okay? What you would call bayath, all right? A house. All right, it starts with individual houses. That's how a nation starts. Our nation, being Yasharahlian, started with one house. All right, being with Abraham, down to Isaac, down to Jacob. All right, Jacob is the founder of our nation, which is the house of Yasharahlian, the house of Jacob, which is the whole nation. Now, that nation is divided into 12 tribes. All right, those 12 tribes were divided into clans, and those clans were divided into families. Okay, so the start of the nation starts with families. So it's very impertinent right now that every individual brother and every individual sister build their family so that we could build a strong nation. Okay, all right, so like I said, everything starts with the family as far as us building this nation and building our culture. We had to build a culture for ourselves, man. All right, we've lost our name in America. They've taken our name. We didn't lose it. They've taken our name. They've taken our identity. All right, so we at this time, we're trying to build that back. Starting with the scriptures and the laws, and we build the foundation off of that. So we have to ground our families. And we have to ground this culture that we're building for ourselves off of the laws and off of the Most High, who we call Yahweh. Okay? Let this train go by. So I only got 4 scriptures, but I'm gonna read and then I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. So first scripture I'm gonna get is Psalms 127. Psalms 127 in verse 1. It says, except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. All right? So the first foundation of this family that you as a brother or as a sister is starting, in this culture that you're building around your family and then ultimately around our nation, it has to start with the Most High. Okay, it has to start with Yahweh. He has to be the foundation of it. Okay, All right, once again, say, except the Lord build the house, they that labor in vain, they that labor in vain, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman watcheth but in vain. All right, so everything has to be founded in Yahweh, okay, and the laws that He had given us. This culture that we building ourselves, it has to first start with the scriptures, okay? And when I say the scriptures, I'm showing you the Bible now, but you got to go back into the Hebrew to really understand what it's saying, because sometimes the English goes off, but it has to be founded in the Most High, your house. All right, let's read verse 3 to 5. It says, Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is His reward. Right, so the children, well, the woman and the children that you bring into the house, okay? Mainly we're talking about the children right now because they're the future. The children are an heritage of the Most High, meaning that they belong to the Most High. When we have children, they don't belong to us, okay? We're custodians over those spirits while they're here on the earth, so we can't abuse them, man. All right? And we have to show them the way of our fathers and the way that the Most High has given us, contained in our Torahs and what some of us read, the Holy Bible or the Scriptures. Okay, we have to get them that foundation. All right, we have to set them up. Like, I'm going back to this whole thing of building your culture. We have to set them up, and we have to set up a foundation for them to live off. All right, think about it. When we grew up. All right, some of us, I didn't grow up as an Israelite. I found my way into this thing. The Most High led me into it. But when I grew up, we grew up celebrating Christmas. Some of us celebrated Christmas and Easter and all, the pagan holidays. So as we got adults, before we came into this truth, guess what we did? We showed our children those same things. Because why? Because our parents laid a foundation for those things. And the greatest society called America, it set a foundation for those holidays that we would keep it. And our family set that foundation. We grew up doing it. And so we taught that to our children in our ignorance. Well, we had to do the reverse of that. We had to do the opposite of that. All right. We had to set up a culture within our houses, okay, within our families, of keeping the holy days, keeping the laws, even things other than that. Of one thing I would recommend is a rites of passage for young men, that they have to know how to be a man. They have to prove themselves of how to be a man before they can be called a man. Okay, this is outside of the scriptures, but just to show you, these are things that we need to set up, all right, in our houses, okay, so that we can build a foundation for these children to grow up in, and then they'll continue what we lay down for them and build on it, and we'll continue to be Yasharahlian. Okay, we'll just grow out of that, African American and all that stuff like that. All right. But it says that children are heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is His reward, meaning the children are the reward. As arrows are in the hand of the mighty man, so are children of the youth, right? Happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. Meaning that if we lay down this foundation, right, we lay down this culture, and every family will have a different culture. I mean, the basis of the culture would be based off of the scriptures, based off of the Most High and the precepts, and some of the things that the cultural aspects that we find contained in the scriptures. But some of these family cultures are going to be different. You may not have a rites of passage for your sons and your daughters, or you may have a rites of passage, but it contains some different elements in it. It's going to be different, but at the basis over the whole nation, we're going to have these main things in common, which is the Most High, our God that we worship, all right, and some of the cultural aspects within the scriptures, okay? But as we lay this foundation for our children, as they grow up and become adults, growing in this truth, okay, growing in this culture that we set up for them, they're gonna branch out, and they're gonna be in the world. They're gonna be in these governmental systems, these government offices and positions, and they'll be able to change some things for us. Okay, I'm not saying that they're going to deliver us out of this captivity. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is we can make some of these things better for ourselves and for our children while we wait on the Most High to deliver us out of this captivity. Okay. All right. So it's imperative that you raise your children to inside of a culture that fits them, that you made for yourself, that you created for yourself, based off of what our forefathers laid down for us. Okay. But the children, my main point is that the children are very, very important, man. And that's in the scriptures. Okay? That's in the scriptures. All right, so let's go in and go to Deuteronomy 6 and Deuteronomy 6 and 4. All right. Bear with me real quick. Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. And I'll say this in Hebrew and then we'll read it in English. Shema Yasharahlian Yahweh Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. That is, hear Israel, the Lord our God is one. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou layest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and upon thy gate. So, let me give you an example. The Most High is telling you, like contained in our laws, that we are supposed to diligently teach our children of these laws and these judgments that Moses handed down from the mouth of the Most High to us. We're supposed to teach them of the covenant. Now, it's aimed towards the children right here. It's talking about diligently teaching it to your children. I'll give you an example of how powerful it is to aim towards the children. All right? When McDonald's, when they advertised, they made Ronald McDonald. And their main advertisement is towards children. Because when the child grows up, the advertisement goes towards the child is going to tell the parent to take them to McDonald's. The parents are going to take the kids to McDonald's, and the kids are going to grow up eating McDonald's or whatever fast food. Now, as these children become adults, they're going to remember that, we'll say, cultural aspect of them going to McDonald's and seeing the McDonald's commercial and eating the food and getting the toys and all that stuff like that. And they're gonna take their children when they become adults to the same place. Okay? All right? Well, we should have that outlook on our culture. We should make it to where we're teaching our children, man. And we're making these things fun for our children, and we're making it important to them, man, so that when they grow up, they won't leave this thing. They won't look at it as a religion and say, well, I'm going to be a Christian now. Nah, you were born an Israelite. You have an Israelite name. You speak an Israelite language, Yasharahlian Kodash, or whatever language it is that you speak. You grew up doing Israelite things. You wore Israelite clothing. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to surround them with that. All right? All right. Oh, and you kept the laws, and you read the laws, and you love reading the laws. And you know what I mean? Like, you have to build a culture around this thing. Okay? Let's go and move on to Exodus chapter 13. Exodus chapter 13. Exodus 13 and 14. It says, "And it shall be, when thy sons asketh thee in the time to come, saying, What is this? That thou shalt say unto him, By the strength of the hand of the Lord brought us out from Egypt, from the house of bondage." I'm sorry, let me go to, it's verse 12 actually. Chapter 12. Verse 14. "And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations, and ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever." All right, we're going to skip down to verse 25. Verse 25 through 27. "And it shall come to pass, when ye be come to the land which the Lord will give you, according as he hath promised, that ye shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you," notice it says, "when your children shall say unto you, What mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, It is the service of the Lord's Passover, who passed over our houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed their head in worship." Okay, so notice that once again, the Most High aims, he speaks of the children. When your children or when your sons ask you, why are we doing this service? You're supposed to explain it to them. Once again, laying down that foundation and that culture within your house. Okay? So it's going to move on to and one, I want to say this too, because I was a part of another group, and we never included in this group that I was a part of. We never included the women and the children in our Passover service. And that was a great disservice to us, because in the scriptures it says clearly that your family is supposed to be involved with this, and your children are going to ask you, why are you doing this service? And you're supposed to tell them this right here. All right, so it's imperative that you include your family in these Passover services and whatever service you do. All right, because this thing is about setting up a foundation for your family and waiting on the Most High to deliver us. Okay? Proverbs 22 and 6. We go there. Proverbs 22 and 6. It says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." Once again, reiterating the point that we as Yasharahlian men, right, as heads of houses, we must train our sons and our daughters in the way of this truth. Okay? And not just that, we must build a foundation. We must build a culture around them, all right, so that they grow up in this culture and they do not depart, all right? And having this culture that you're going to build for them, okay, these traditions that you're going to create in your household based off of the scriptures and based off of what you want in your household, the vision that you have for your house, these things are going to set up a sense of pride for your children. All right, and when you have a sense of pride of your nation and your house and your nationality, you're gonna do good things in life. Okay, you're gonna go far. You're gonna be intelligent. These are things that we gotta set up for our children and for our families and for our wives. Okay, because we want them to continue in this thing. We don't want to die off, and That's it. That's the end of the truth for us, for our families. And they go off into the world and become Christians and this, that, and the other. And then they African American again, or whatever term they make up for us to call ourselves. No, we going to name ourselves, and we're going to make our own culture. And this is going to be ours. We're going to have our own language. We're going to have our own traditions. We're going to have our own holy days. We're going to have our own family days. We're going to have our own things. We're going to have our own writings, whatever. And our children are not going to depart from this, because all they know from the day they came out of their mother's womb is this culture. Okay. All right. So last scripture, Sirach 11:28, and then I'll wrap it up. All right, Sirach 11:28. It says, "Judge none blessed before his death. Judge none blessed before his death. For a man shall be known in his children." Okay? So the things that we lay down as men of Yasharahlian, the culture that we lay down, the precepts that we lay down, and the things that we teach our children, when we die, they'll be known in our children. All right? The type of men that you are today, the men that you'll be remembered for, is going to be known in your sons and your daughters. Okay? You'll be praised and given honor by how your children come out, by the things that your children do. Okay? This is why it's important to lay down that foundation, that and when I say I want to make it known that I'm not just saying just the laws and the commandments. I mean an actual culture that you build for your house on top of the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High gave us. And that includes the holy days that the Most High gave us, and maybe a day that you want to make up for your family, or a feast that you have for your family to commemorate something dealing with your family and with Israel. Or most of all, our language. We have to become more proactive about our language, whether you speak biblical Hebrew or Lashon Kodash as we do. That means naming your children, okay? Israelite names, okay? That means how you view life, okay? That's also a part of culture. That means the art, how you draw things within your house. That means poetry, whatever. All these things are a part of culture. That means ceremonies that you do. When you name your children, if it's a ceremony behind that. When you the way that you teach your children to pray, the way that your children speak, what they call their mothers and their fathers, which goes back to language, what they call other people in your family, uncles and aunties. It's just everything dealing in their life, okay? We got to stop dealing with the religion. We got to stop holding this thing as a religion and look at it and deal with it as our culture and our name. All right, so we Yasharahlian. All right, so with that, I'm Karatazar. Say Tawada for watching. If you watch, peace and blessings to you brothers and sisters out there. Say Kahala Yahweh Shemi Asha. All praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Shai. All right, may the Most High bless you and watch you and keep you, Yasharahlian. Shalom.